students, welcome back to my class. In previous video, I had asked you one question. Do you remember? I asked you, our fingers often wrinkle when placed in water for a long time. What could be the reason? This is a normal phenomena and can even affect your toes also. But why does it happen? Have you tried to find out its answer? Okay, let me explain you. Even though you can't see it, your skin is covered with its own special oil called as sebum. Sebum is found on the outermost layer of skin. It moistens or lubricates and protects your skin. This sebum also makes your skin a bit waterproof. That's why water runs off your skin when you wash your hands instead of soaking it in like a sponge would. But staying in water for a long time washes away the sebum. Then the water can penetrate the outer layer of skin. For a long time, people thought the water caused the skin swell up and get puffy. But now researchers believe wrinkly fingers could be an autonomic nervous system reaction. Why? Because it is easier to pick up weight objects with wrinkly fingers. Wrinkles on your fingers may give you more grip, kind of like treads on a car treads. Now in this video we will be discussing about another very important part of the cell, which is known as the nucleus. Nucleus is one of the first organelle to be observed under the microscope. We have seen the experiments. You have performed the experiments in 8th standard. You have seen how to remove the onion peel, how to observe its nucleus. So you have observed the dark dot in the each cell of onion peel, even in your cheek cells also. So that dark dot is known as nucleus. See, it is one of the first organelle to be observed under the microscope. A Scottish botanist, Robert Brown, is credited with the discovery of the nucleus while studying orchid flowers. He used the term areola to describe it. Areola refers to a small circular area or patch. See, the credit of discovery of nucleus goes to the scientist Robert Brown. He saw central structure in plant cells and then he named this structure as a nucleus. Here you can see the nucleus. Don't get confused between the names of Robert Hooke and Robert Brown. Robert Hooke discovered the cell while Robert Brown discovered the nucleus in the cell. The nucleus is the control center of a cell and is also referred to as the brain of the cell. See, the nucleus is also known as the brain of a cell. What is the reason? Because as brain controls all the activities of our body, same way nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. That's why the nucleus is also known as the brain of cell. See, the cell nucleus is a membrane bound structure that contains the cell's hereditary information. Membrane bound structure means it has a protective covering. See, in this picture you can see that nucleus is covered by a nuclear envelope, that is called as nuclear membrane also. Inside it has nucleolus, nucleoplasm, chromatin threads are there and nuclear pores. The nucleus contains the cell's hereditary information. Hereditary information means the information which is passed from parents to their offsprings. Have you ever wondered why you look so similar to your parents or grandparents? It is just because of the hereditary information. The heredity that you inherit from your parents makes you look alike them. Nucleus also controls the cell's growth and reproduction. The nucleus is a command center of eukaryotic cells and is commonly the most prominent organelle in a cell. If you observe any kind of cell, eukaryotic, at the end of the video, we will be discussing what is eukaryotic cell. So, in the eukaryotic cell, the nucleus is most prominent organelle. It accounts for about 10% of the cell's volume. In general, an eukaryotic cell has only one nucleus, while some eukaryotic cells can be enucleated, means these are without a nucleus. For example, our red blood cells or RBCs. These are without nucleus, while there are some examples which are multinucleate, means they have two or more nuclei. For example, slime molds. These are the types of fungi. The nucleus is separated from rest of the cell or the cytoplasm by a nuclear membrane. As the nucleus regulates the integrity of genes and gene expression, it is also referred to as the control center of a cell. As nucleus regulates all the activities of the cell, so this nucleus is also referred to as the control center or brain of the cell. Now let us study the structure of the nucleus in detail. The structure of nucleus encompasses, means consists of the nuclear membrane or this nuclear envelope. Then it consists of nucleoplasm. As the cell has cytoplasm, nucleus has nucleoplasm. Then it has chromosomes. These are in the form of chromatin threads. And at the center there is nucleolus. Now let us discuss about these parts in detail. The first part is nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. It is a double layered structure which encloses all the contents of the nucleus. It is the outermost layer and it is connected to the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is the cell organelle. In the video of cell organelles, we will discuss about endoplasmic reticulum in details. Like the cell membrane, the nuclear envelope consists of phospholipids that forms a lipid bilayer. The envelope helps to maintain the shape of the nucleus. This envelope also assists in regulating the flow of molecules into and out of the nucleus through nuclear pores. See this diagram. So these are the nuclear pores. There are the gaps in between nuclear envelope. So these nuclear pores, they help for the movement of materials inside the nucleus and outside the nucleus. The nucleus communicates with the remaining of the cell or the cytoplasm through nuclear pores. These nuclear pores are the sites for the exchange of large molecules. These large molecules are proteins as well as RNA between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Now next is nucleoplasm. It is the gelatinous substance within the nuclear envelope. Inside nuclear envelope there is another layer, that is nucleoplasm. It is also called as karyoplasm. See, karyon means nucleus. So the covering of nucleus is karyoplasm. It is a semi-aqueous material similar to cytoplasm. It is composed mainly of water with dissolved salts, enzymes and organic molecules suspended within. The nucleolus and chromosomes are surrounded by nucleoplasm. It functions to cushion and protect the contents of the nucleus, as the nucleoplasm is a jelly-like material. So it provides the cushion-like structure and it also protects the contents of the nucleus. The nucleoplasm also supports the nucleus by helping to maintain its shape. Additionally, the nucleoplasm provides a medium by which materials such as enzymes and nucleotides, that is DNA and RNA subunits, can be transported throughout the nucleus. The substances are exchanged between the cytoplasm and nucleoplasm through the nuclear pores. Next important part of nucleus is nucleolus. It is contained within the nucleus. It is a dense membraneless structure. It is composed of RNA and proteins. It is called as the nucleolus. See here, this is a dense structure which consists of RNA and proteins. It is called as nucleolus. Some of the eukaryotic organisms have nucleus that may contain up to 4 nucleolus. It contains nucleolar organizers which are parts of chromosomes with the genes for ribosome synthesis on them. The nucleolus helps to synthesize ribosomes by transcribing and assembling ribosomal RNA subunits. These subunits join together to form a ribosome during protein synthesis. The nucleolus disappears when cell undergoes division and it is reformed after the completion of cell division. Now, important part of the nucleus is chromosomes. The nucleus is the organelle that houses chromosomes. These chromosomes consist of DNA and this DNA contains hereditary information and instructions for cell growth and development as well as reproduction. Chromosomes are present in the form of strings of DNA and histones or protein molecules called as chromatin. The chromosomes are present in the form of strings of DNA and histone or protein molecules called as chromatin. When a cell is resting, that is, it is not dividing, the chromosomes are organized into long entangled structures and these long entangled structures are called as chromatin. Now let us discuss the functions of nucleus. First very important function of nucleus is it controls the hereditary characteristics of an organism, means it passes information from one generation to another. The nucleus is also responsible for protein synthesis, cell division. At the end of this chapter, we will be studying about cell division. Nucleus is also responsible for growth and differentiation. Differentiation means cells are given different tasks. It is differentiation. The storage of hereditary material, the genes in the form of long and thin DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid strands. It is referred to as chromatin. DNA is stored in the form of chromatin in the nucleus. The storage of proteins and RNA, that is ribonucleic acid in the nucleolus. See, the proteins and RNA are also stored in the nucleolus of the nucleus. The nucleus is a site for transcription in which messenger RNA are produced for protein synthesis. You will study transcription in higher classes. So nucleus is site for transcription where messenger RNA are produced for protein synthesis. During the cell division, the chromatins are arranged into chromosomes in the nucleus. It is also responsible for production of ribosomes. The ribosomes are also known as the protein factories in the nucleolus. So these are all the functions of nucleus. Now let us study about chromosomes. What are chromosomes? See, in the nucleus of each cell, the DNA molecule is packaged into thread-like structures. These thread-like structures are called as chromosomes. Here you can see the structure of a chromosome. Each chromosome is made up of DNA tightly coiled many times around proteins called as histones that supports its structure. See, each chromosome is made up of DNA. This tightly coiled structure is known as DNA. DNA is coiled many times around proteins called as histones. Chromosomes. See, this is the structure of chromosomes. These chromosomes are not visible in the cell's nucleus, not even under a microscope. when the cell is not dividing. However, the DNA that makes up chromosomes becomes more tightly packed during cell division. Then this DNA becomes visible under a microscope. See, this DNA is visible under a microscope during cell division in very tightly packed form. Now see, this is the structure of a normal chromosome. It has two arms. These are chromatids, one of the two identical strands of DNA that makes up chromosome. This is centromere. The centromere joins the two chromatids together. It is the region in which fibers attach to each other during cell division. Now this end part is telomere. These are molecular protective caps of repetitive DNA at the ends of chromosomes. See, here is a cell. Cell consists of nucleus, and inside nucleus there are chromosomes. So this is the enlarged view of the chromosome. See, chromosomes are not uniform in width throughout their length, with each chromosome having a constriction called as centromere. It is responsible for the movement of the chromosome at the cell division. The centromere divides the chromosome into short and long arms, and by international conventions, the short arm is termed as the P arm, while the long arm of the chromosome is termed as the Q arm. Now see, this picture shows the duplicated chromosomes. Before a cell starts dividing, the DNA, that is genetic material of the cell, makes a copy of itself so that each chromosome can have two sister chromatids. So here you can see the duplication. It is a single chromatid. So during cell division, it gets duplicated, forming two sister chromatids. These two threads of chromatin are known as the sister chromatids. Best, the different organisms have different number of chromosomes or different sets of chromosomes. So based on the number of sets of chromosomes, the organisms are divided into haploids and diploids. The cells are divided into two types, haploid cells and diploid cells. The haploid cells are represented by a number, by letter N, while diploid cells are represented by 2N. Haploid cells have one set of chromosomes. In humans, the number N is 23. The gametes, that is sperms and ova, are haploid. Diploid means the cell have two sets of chromosomes. In case of humans, 2N is equal to 46. In humans, all body cells other than gametes, the gametes are sperms and ova. So all the body cells other than gametes are diploid. Now what is meant by the homologous chromosomes? Homologous chromosomes are the chromosome pairs of the same length, centromere position. They are having same length, same centromere position and staining pattern with genes for the same characteristics. One homologous chromosome is inherited from the organism's mother, while the other from the organism's father. So here you can see the pair of homologous chromosomes. So they consist various genes. For example, here is gene for eye color, and gene for enzymes, gene for cytochrome, etc. So the baby gets a duplicated chromosomes, means one copy from the mother and one copy from the father. So the baby has diploid set of chromosomes. Now the chromosome number varies in various organisms. See, the humans have total 46 number of chromosomes, that is 23 pairs. Cats have 38 chromosomes, dog 78, pigs 38, goats have 60 chromosomes, sheep have 54 chromosomes, cattle have 60, horse 64, donkey 62, rabbit 44 and chicken 78 chromosome. So in human, in normal human male or female, they have 46 chromosome. If this number gets changed, suppose if it is 45 or 47, then it changes all the characteristics of that human. You will study about this in 12th standard. What will happen if there is one less or one more chromosome in the human beings? Now, based on the presence of nucleus, the cells are classified into two categories. These two categories are prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So let us discuss about the prokaryotic cells as well as the eukaryotic cells. The prokaryotic cells are the cells that do not have a true nucleus or membrane bound organelles. The organisms within the domain such as bacteria and archaea, they have prokaryotic cells. The organisms with prokaryotic cells are abundant. These are found everywhere on the earth and they make up much of earth's biomass. See, here is a structure of the prokaryotic cell, the structure of bacterial cell. So it's covered by capsule. These thorn-like structures are called as pilus. Then it has long tail-like structure. See, this tail-like structure is called as flagellum. Now it doesn't have well-developed nucleus. Instead of well-developed nucleus, its nuclear material is in the form of coiled threads. This is plasma membrane, cytoplasm, cell wall, etc. So this is the structure of prokaryotic cell. Now let us discuss about the structure of eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells are cells that contain a nucleus and organelles. These are enclosed by a plasma membrane. Eukaryotic cells have well-developed nucleus as well as cell organelles which are enclosed by a plasma membrane. Organisms that have eukaryotic cells, they include protozoa, for example amoeba, paramecium, etc., fungi, plants and animals. These organisms are grouped into the biological domain eukaryota. Eukaryotic cells are larger and more complex than prokaryotic cells. See, this is the structure of a prokaryotic cell. The eukaryotic cell. The eukaryotic cell have well developed nucleus. This is the most prominent feature of the eukaryotic cell, that eukaryotic cells have a prominent nucleus. Now let us compare between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, their similarities and differences. Both have chromosomes, DNA as a genetic material. Prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cells have ribosomes, cytoplasm, plasma membrane. Sometimes they have cell walls. Both have vacuoles. What are the differences? Prokaryotic cells do not have well-developed nucleus. They have nucleoid region. Eukaryotic cells have prominent nucleus. Prokaryotic cells have circular DNA that floats freely around the cell, while eukaryotic cells have linear DNA which is held in the nucleus. Prokaryotic cells have very simple DNA, while eukaryotic cells have complex DNA. The prokaryotic cells do not have membrane bound cell organelles, while eukaryotic cells have membrane bound organelles. The prokaryotic cells are typically much smaller, while eukaryotic cells are much larger. Prokaryotic cells divide by binary fission, while eukaryotic cells divide by mitosis and meiosis. Prokaryotic are typically unicellular, anaerobic or aerobic, while eukaryotic cells are typically multicellular as well as aerobic. So this was all about the important structure of the cell called as nucleus. In next video we will be discussing about cytoplasm and cell organelles. Thank you.